What's up, everyone? Baseball's back at it again, and it has just been announced that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz will be the Democratic VP, Kamala Harris, in the Democratic ticket for the U.S. presidential election. But what does this mean for the Democratic Party moving forward? And how does this impact the polling? How does this impact any possible swing states for the election? Stay tuned and figure out. What we're really going to go and dive deep in is just understanding the sentiment around Walz. Donald Trump already announced sort of his opinion, his first kind of reaction to this. This is the most radical left duo in American history. There's never been anything like it. And I don't know if he's throwing this out. This is just going to get all the conspiracy theorists riled up. But there's a movement to bring back crooked Joe Biden. Look at that. So already there seems to be a faction. There's a split between this decision. And this is Kamala Harris's first big decision, picking a vice presidential nominee. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, it's really inconsequential. If you think about it, the vice president doesn't have a huge bearing on the ticket. I mean, JD Vance is really not the most popular right now based on his comments, but I really doubt he's going to be a huge factor or a huge driving force into getting people not to vote for that ticket, which is Trump. He's the representative. Those are just the facts. So Walz, like I said, is now the nominee. Trump had kind of issued his statement on it, but like I said, that there's a faction from the Democratic Party. Remember, all this time we were analyzing the polls, Walz was really maybe a third, fourth option. The primary options, look at Clinton here, that's funny. I mean, Shapiro, I would say, was 1A, Kelly maybe 1B. You had Bashar there in the mix, but nothing too crazy. Even we had Pete Buttigieg for what he's worth. I mean, can you imagine that ticket? I'm not really sure what he's done. Public transportation, inflation on that has actually just skyrocketed as well. But this is all the same ticket. So if Buttigieg was on there, it wasn't really going to be a great look. They had to go with someone a lot more different. If they went with Shapiro, right, it was more of an establishment figure, but he was polling well in Pennsylvania. And that's the thing. Right now, Pennsylvania, you take a look at the polls. This is 538's projection. They have Trump with a slight lead. Poly market, completely different story. They have Harris, a slightly higher lead. So my thinking was, if you get Shapiro on the ticket, you would put Trump at least in a stronghold position to get PA, right? And we've done so much map analysis here that, I mean, let's just be real. If we start editing this, if Harris gets a hold on PA, right, that just changes the entire game. So I gave, let's say, Harris, they need to sweep the Rust Belt states, I think, if they really have any chance of winning. And so, like I said, that puts them at 270 to 268. But if they just lose Pennsylvania now, which is like the state out of these three states that is most likely to lean towards Trump because of you have fracking, it's an energy state, and obviously coal mining, whatever. You have a huge number of issues that really represent middle America. So I assume that they would take Josh Shapiro for that reason. Hell, even take Senator Kelly from Arizona. If that even gets you Arizona, it's still a little bit more difficult, right? If Trump pulls off PA, but at least you get Senator Kelly. And if Trump maybe loses another state, like if Harris steals Georgia, now if Trump wins PA, that's still not enough, right? So that just puts it in a completely different situation. But it's pretty obvious to everyone why they didn't choose Shapiro. And Van Jones, Democratic strategist here, says Kamala caved into anti-Jewish bigots with the Walz pick. Claims anti-Semitism marbled into the Democratic Party. Now, when you have Van Jones saying this, as emotional as this guy can get, and this was sort of what was going on. John King, shout out to him. I mean, he's the one that had predicted that they might not pick Shapiro. And it's because of the fact that he's Jewish, a huge conflict with the Democratic Party and their alignment with Palestine in this Israel-Palestine conflict. Bill Ackman also commented on this, and he found it appalling. I mean, we have right here. I mean, look at what's going on in the world right now. You get the timing of everything. Um, the timing of this decision, reminiscent of Joe Biden administration, leaking in the media that the U.S. is withholding weapons from Israel in the middle of a hostage negotiation. If they put Shapiro on that ticket, it's not necessarily a conflict of interest, but it creates mixed signaling to the electorate, right? Trump had also said that Palestine, they might lose, the Dems are going to lose some of that base. And if they don't vote for Trump, that's fine. But if they don't vote for Harris, that's a vote that's a loss for Harris. So that's a net negative for Harris. And like I said, the Democratic Party has made it clear that they are more in favor of really sticking to that core or aligning with that belief that they want to stay with Palestine here, right? The Democratic Party made it eminently clear that they will earn more votes by supporting Israel's enemies than not even supporting the enemy or by supporting Israel here, but even giving any mixed signal. Because Shapiro, obviously, he's Jewish, right? But he, when it came to the table, he was up for some negotiation or strategy with this whole conflict. But the Democratic Party figured out that if they wanted to win this election, they believed he wasn't their best choice. And it's a shame. I think a lot of Republican strategists are cheering on, about this and saying that this is a great day for the Trump campaign because it's just been going so south. I mean, we've been seeing the polling right here, and Harris is already, she's already eclipsed Biden's pre-debate polling. Pre-debate polling, he was at 45. Kamala's at 45 right now. Look at that. So it's getting pretty intense for the Trump campaign. And this was some of the best news that they could have got. Because, believe it or not, Walz is pretty liberal. This is the most liberal ticket that we will most likely have in the modern era. Look at this. Just take a look. This is the image during the Floyd riots. This is the BLM riots that happened in Minneapolis, and it was pretty bad. I mean, you heard every time you heard Minneapolis in the news, it was because of this. And it's because he has such loose policies, not a huge grip on the catastrophe that was going on here. So this is going to be a hard record to try and defend because is Kamala going to go all out and be like, you know what, we're going to, this is the most liberal ticket. You know what, you know, we're not going to try and cave into anyone. We're not going to try to appeal to any moderates. We're going to go all out, Green New Deal, AOC, whoever you want to tag on. Or do they try, because remember, they haven't even done a single press conference. They haven't answered any tough questions. Or does Tim Walz come in here, football coach, just got into politics, so he's not really an establishment guy, I would say. And does he try to cave in, appeal to the moderate, and like I said, Tim Walz, not the most ideal record, very liberal policy. Tim Walz also in, support for, transgender women competing in sports with biological women. He's in support of that as well. So it's a little bit tight on how he's going to go ahead and defend that. There's just no way you can even argue that. So I'm appalled, but not really. We just saw that the betting odds just went down for Walz. So I guess someone had insider info, inside trading info. Who knows? So here's the thing, right? So let's get back to the map, and then we'll wrap this up. The thing is, I don't know how Walz really makes a difference. Minnesota goes really blue. It's not even close. Minnesota, I mean, it's 90% chance it's going to go to the Dems. They usually win the state by +10, so it's not even really close. Fun fact, Minnesota was the only state that didn't vote for Ronald Reagan in that landslide election, actually. And I believe if we go into older elections, we can actually go and see that. Okay, I can't see that old, but go to 1980. 1980, this is when Reagan had a huge red wave landslide. Minnesota was the only state that won Or yeah, Georgia, West Virginia. Shockingly, okay. So you see that Minnesota won, and I think they won again, or Minnesota, yeah, Mondale, yeah. Look at that. So they're pretty liberal. I mean, it was the only state, look at that, only state that voted for Reagan in 1984. That just goes to show, and that was when Reagan had those years to prove himself. Let me just forward it back to this election. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. Minnesota already goes blue. It's going to be tough for him to defend that record, like I said. There's no way you try and get anything going here. Um, I think it's going to be really tough to defend that position. It's now it puts a lot more pressure because if they had gotten Shapiro, it was a it was a risk clearly, but I think it would have been a risk that had high upside to it because if they he's popular in PA, if they can get and like I said, he's going to appeal to more of those moderate centrist moderate rights, and that could be the difference in election. So this just puts a lot more pressure on him, to win PA, right? I mean, now if she loses PA, you know, it's going to be just so much tougher for them to go ahead, and especially because they're not going to win any of the Sun Belt states. It's going to be a lot more difficult. My option was if you thought it was really tumultuous to go ahead and pick Shapiro, you would have went with Mark Kelly. Why you would have went with Mark Kelly? He also polls pretty well with Democrats, moderate centrists. And here's the thing, right? So if I go, and I'm not really sure why. Okay, yeah, I'm not really sure. Okay, but anyways, you get Kelly. Arizona's on the precipice. It's not really a lock done deal to go red. So if you get Kelly, you probably could get Arizona. Maybe you could even get a Nevada, but let's just keep Nevada out of it. And let's say you really don't think you can get PA. That's fine. At least you get Arizona. And let's say you can get let's say you can get a Georgia or something, or that helps you get Nevada, right? And Trump, like I said, you would have to win all three swing states, and maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe Harris pulls a Michigan. So now it becomes Harris wins, right? If Harris can pull out of Georgia, just one other state, and if she gets like an Arizona, and right now she's pulling well in Michigan, she might even pull Wisconsin. But if they don't think they can get PA, so be it. But they can at least secure this side of the border. Maybe Mark Kelly, uh, Senator Kelly comes in and brings in a new perspective to kind of just convince the electorate that we will have safe borders. It can also maybe convince Nevada as well. 274 to 264 win. It's a good way to hedge your bet. Now you don't have Kelly in the mix, so you're losing Kelly. Maybe you're probably going to lose Nevada. Okay, maybe you pull a Georgia. Let's say maybe you even pull in North Carolina, right? I mean, it's a huge shot. I'm not really sure that would happen. But like I said, that's if you secure these two states, you might not even get Georgia or North Carolina. And Trump could very well secure all the Rust Belt states because the way they're polling is similar. So now, doesn't matter. Harris can even get in Nevada, and it's not going to make any difference. Trump's going to win. So I think this was a poor decision on Harris. We will see. They haven't answered any questions, so I can't really tell. But as of right now, if Walz was maybe more of a moderate centrist figure, I would say, okay, we'll see. He could be pretty popular, but for now, he's not. And Mark Kelly would have been better option. Newsom too, for what it's worth, but he was in California, so you can't put a double California ticket. So this is just all crazy. Whitmer also, governor of Michigan, but can't put a double woman ticket. So it's like they're just too tied. And the options that they had great options to be a presidential candidate, but Harris really just stymies all the other options that flow because everything has to go through her. So it is what it is. This is the new VP, and this is going to go full flow into the DNC. We're going to have coverage of the DNC as well. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be huge mainstream media coverage, and we'll be here to see how the polls change. So till next time.